Hey one, hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, welcome to Halloween week. Although I'm not going to lie, this topic is not a Halloween inspired topic. I will note, however, next to me here you see this gold jacket. This is actually part of Starscream Wife's costume for when we go to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show. She's going to be Columbia. So I'm going to just leave that here to give it a little bit of a Halloween-esque flair. While our topic, however, is one that is kind of sort of being revisited. I did this topic before, but I did it years and years ago before we moved into the format of fan voting, when a list was just done based on my own personal picks, and it was definitely my own subjectivity rather than the objectivity of popular fan vote. What is this topic? The topic is the top 10 Transformers Minibots. Not micromasters, not target masters, headmasters. We've done all of that. This doesn't include the Unicron trilogy minicons, though for some reason a lot of people call them minibots minicons. They're not. Minicons are a lot smaller. I don't think that they can talk. I think they make bleep bloops and stuff, and I think that they're actually closer to the size of micromasters than minibots. The G1 minibots would include, you know, all of the things that came out in G1 that were a bit smaller. Your Cosmoses, your Warpaths, your Pipes, and your Huffers, and your Bumblebees, and your Cliffjumpers. So who ranked where? We're going to find out because we've amassed all the votes. Top 10 minibots. That'll be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the top 10 minibots. First and foremost, I'm going to say a early Happy Halloween. I'm saying early because I'm actually going to do this week's GotBot Goes Live tomorrow night, Tuesday, rather than typical Thursday, because Thursday is Halloween. What's really funny to me is I've had a number of people now who have pointed out to me that where they live is celebrating Halloween this weekend or next weekend. One place is doing their trick-or-treating on Wednesday the 30th rather than on Halloween, October 31st, which is actually All Hallows Eve, because November 1st is All Hallows Day. So, like, I don't know. I just find it very interesting. So, if you've already celebrated Halloween, happy belated. If it's weird. That's weird, right? If it's still coming up, hope you enjoy it. A lot of years I try to do something like orange themed, or I try to do something like evil or scary or something like that, but I didn't come up with one this year. Instead, I'm revisiting a topic that fans have not voted on before on the channel. I just did it myself, and I recently had a conversation with a viewer, and I wish I actually had my phone here so I could look up his name. I don't have it. Anyway, shout out to whoever that guy was, if you're watching this. And I thought about it because he said, I love this particular character. I think it was Bumblebee, he said. And we all know I'm not a Bee fan, which means Bee wouldn't have ranked high, if at all, on my own fan or my own list years ago. So I said, you know what? High time to revisit this. High time to do the fan vote and hand the reins over to you guys, because it's as independent and impartial as can be. Of course, because I didn't specify if we're talking fiction or figure, it encompasses everything. Just your overall favorite minibot. What one do you love the most, right? So it encompasses everything. If I mean something specific, I put it specifically in the question. One person, one vote. We have 3 honorable mentions. They include Outback, and the people that voted for him said he was really the only G1 minibot that came with an accessory, that came with a blaster, so they love him for that reason alone. Huffer, who had a nice push. I thought he was going to rank. And I like this one, Bumper or Bumble Jumper, if you prefer. As a matter of fact, I actually took the Bumblebee that came in one of the like Creatures Collides 4-pack or some such thing as that, and removed the Bumblebee head off of it because the body just isn't Bumblebee. It's that Cliffjumper, that Earthrise Cliffjumper body, right? And I put a 3D printed head on that to turn it into Bumper, or Bumblejumper if you prefer. The head came from our good buddy Justin from the 3D Corner. Rest in peace, my friend. But it's really because of him that I actually have a Bumper in my collection, and I'll forever be grateful for that. Actually, there were two heads. I gave the other to Eric. Shout out to Eric, who was the guy who hooked me up with my anime accurate, cartoon accurate big convoy. So a lot of connections there. So once again, the honorable mentions: Outback, Huffer, Bumper. They did not make the list. Who did make the list? You know what we're going to do. We're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Number 10 came in as a little bit of a surprise to me because it's pipes. I would have figured if any version of kind of this body type would have landed on the list, it would have been Huffer, but pipes. And people that voted for pipes really said two things. One, he was like the only guy who actually said, like, basically, oh my god, Blur, shut up, like, stop talking, be quiet, right? Because we all know what Blur's like. The other reason that people voted for this guy is they said by season 3, he was a really valuable medic, a really valuable field medic. We didn't have Ratchet anymore. Thanks, Decepticons. Thanks, 86 movie, for that. And First Aid was often tasked with kind of keeping Metroplex going because he was, yes, a doctor, and yes, he was a combiner, or part of a combiner, but First Aid was really tasked with kind of keeping Metroplex going. So for a field medic, this guy became really valuable, invaluable. And some people said, you know what, I just overall like the mix of the blue and the white as a color scheme better with the face-plated face. A lot of reasons to like pipes, enough that he was able to take the number 10 slot. Number 9 is actually a really interesting case because the people that voted for this guy said, A, he doesn't get enough love, and B, this is the first Minibot that they owned. It's Windcharger. And you know what? He was the first Minibot I owned too. No, that's a lie. My first Minibot was Red Bumblebee. He was the first, I guess, Minibot that was a known character that I had. And you know what? The original was great. The 2013, 2015 Combiner Wars maybe version was not that great. But then we had the Power of the Primes version, which is pretty great. A lot of people now hunger for him to kind of be given like the deluxe class treatment. If it happens, cool. If it never happens, I'm happy with this version. But yeah, very simplistically put, a version of a character that really doesn't get enough love. He had that cool infrared ability, I think. He had the like magnetic ability, right? Like he could hold the guys together with a magnetic field. That's a cool skill to have. Yeah, maybe he doesn't get enough love, maybe he hasn't appeared in enough fiction, but a lot of fans fondly remember and fondly love Windcharger enough that he was able to take the number 9 slot. Following on from number 9 to number 8, we have that same body type again with Tailgate. Now, to be fair, I'm guessing that most people that voted for this, because people didn't really give reasons for Tailgate, other than either he looked cool, or they didn't really say anything. And, oh, look at that. I popped that off. My fault. They didn't really say anything. My guess is Tailgate really became popular in his IDW run, even when he lost his legs. And I think a lot of people like that characterization. I don't know it well enough to really comment on it. We all know what I think of IDW and their ability to write, edit, and produce stories. I find them very poorly done and very amateur. I'm not a fan of the company. Love comics, just don't love that company. Windcharger, or Tailgate, whether you like the original, whether you like his personification, I guess, in the IDW universe, and again, some people said, much like Windcharger, he doesn't get enough love either. In fact, in the G1 cartoon, I think his claim to fame is getting trod on by Trypticon. Yes, I said the word trod. Here we use it, it's like a local colloquial term for getting treaded on, walked on, stomped on, whatever you want to use. Yeah, Tailgate takes the number 8 slot. Number 7 is close to my heart, as you will see, because it's Gears. Let me explain a little bit about why this guy got the votes that he did according to you guys. First, they said, look, his G1 iteration was fun. His Generations iteration was fun, and this iteration is pretty much perfect. I would agree. Some people said the Mech Fans Toys iteration was excellent too. I would agree with that as well. Though I think that one might lack fly swivel, I believe. Gears. Here's what I like. Some people that voted said, he's a cranky old curmudgeon, but we love him anyway. Just like you, GotBot. You know what? I can see the comparisons between me and Gears. I really can. Cranky old curmudgeon, but he has your best interests at heart. Gears takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6, we go to the high seas, kinda, sorta, with Seaspray. Even though he's really a hovercraft, I don't think he's going to do a whole lot on the high seas for too long. The original G1 was fantastic. The weird G2 color, that was fantastic. We've gotten him before in Voyager class. I know that was a movie one, but a lot of people say that mold was fantastic. The Power of the Primes one, fantastic. Like, the hovercraft mold is a fun mold, according to fans, and I agree. It is always an interesting, but usually pretty fluid transformation, which I would agree with again as well. Some people hunger for him to get the deluxe class treatment. Again, much like with Windcharger and Tailgate, maybe that'd be cool, maybe not. If we get it, cool. If we don't, and this is our kind of mainline version of Seaspray, like, I'm cool with this. Excellent articulation, excellent look, great character, had a couple of interesting stories, and if for no other reason, you can love that Seaspray has one of the most unique voices in all of Transformers. I always like he's gurgling water. Seaspray, yeah. Kind of came out of left field, didn't really think of him right off, but why not? And he takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd as we reach the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, of course, we have one that I think had to appear on the list somewhere, and it's Bumblebee. And yeah, Bumblebee. The people that voted for him said, is there any other? There's no other answer. Quintessential, the first one. I mean, I get all of the reasoning behind it. The most popular, the best known. I can't stand the guy, but I get it. I get the proliferation of the character. I get why people would immediately think Minibot, Bumblebee. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily the poster boy for Minibots because he's coming in at the halfway mark rather than at number 1. And maybe it's just that people are sick of Bee and just didn't want to vote for him. I really don't know. I can only go on what the voters said. Fun fact, this is the KBB Hornets agent. Somebody recently posted, what's better, this or the 86? And one guy in particular said that this was no good. He said all of the ball joints fall off and it's right loose and flimsy and the transformation is no good and stuff. That's not true. He must have had a bad copy because that's 100% not true. I've had Hornets Agent for many years and, like, I'm shaking him. Literally nothing moves. In transformation, I've never had a ball joint pop off or a panel or anything. I'm sure the 86 is fine. It is also, at least here in Canada, about $12, $13 more expensive than this. I don't think the alt mode of the 86 is very accurate at all, but that's just me. I don't like that the 86's chest is too squared off. Actually, it feels more like Bumper to me than Bumblebee. I'm not saying that you should necessarily get Hornets Agent. You go with your heart. If you want to go with the 86, go with the 86. If you're good with the Netflix one, stick with that. If you want the upcoming retro one, go with that. All of them are viable options. But for my money, considering the price, considering the package that you get, I still think that Hornets Agent is the go-to. The only thing, honestly, about him that disappoints me is I wish he had a waist. That's the only imperfection. He even has the tire on the back. What's not to love? But yeah, Bumblebee, and I digressed there, I realize, but Bumblebee, according to fan votes, is prolific enough, is popular enough, is quintessential enough that he was able to take the number 5 slot. And now we've reached the top 4, and this is really interesting because the top 4, any of them could have won it at any time. The voting was super duper close. Then there was a big gap, and from Bumblebee on down the rest of the list also could have almost come in any order because the voting was super close there. I don't remember the last time that the overall voting was this unpredictable while I was counting it up. Some people made some claims at times while I was in the midst of counting that this one or that one was going to win, and I'll tell you now that number 1 is actually a tie. But it could have been the one I'm about to present at one point was in the lead. It could have taken number 1. Same when we get to number 3 and number 2. So, at number 4, And I love this one. I really do love this one. At number 4, we have Cosmos. Whether it's the original G1, whether it's the Generations one, though that one lacked elbows, it was a fun transformation. Whether it's the later Generations one, that was a Legends class one, that's an excellent mold, was also used for Scrounge. Or the Legacy Velocitron 500 slash Legacy United, because this guy is soon going to be getting another re-release. Excellent, excellent Cosmos. The Generations is excellent if you want to stick with that, but this one really kind of embodies the character super duper well. Those that voted for him said that the molds he's had have been wonderful. The voice and the character in G1 was just fun. But you know what a lot of people cited? They said his alt mode was a UFO, and as a kid in the 80s, thinking about what sort of aliens and spaceships and stuff could be up there in space going around, just captured the imagination. As weird as this guy was, as much time as he spent alone wandering around space, and as much as a UFO is anything but a robot in disguise, they said Cosmos captured the imagination. And that's why Cosmos takes the number 4 slot. I mentioned that number 1 is a tie. Well, guess what? Number 3 is also a tie. Number 2 isn't, don't worry. But at number 3, with the exact same number of votes, we have Braun and Powerglide. So let's talk about Powerglide for a second first and why people voted for him. People said, look, he was a zany, fun character full of energy. Plus, you know, he had that neat love story. If for nothing else, though, his plane mode is a very unique plane mode for Transformers. It's a little bit of a nod to G.I. Joe. The original G1 was fun, and as imperfect as the Combiner Wars one is, it too is fun. My only issues with it is that I wish it had a bicep swivel. Fun fact, we have now had iterations of all of the E-Hobby GotBots repaints, except for Bad Boy. And Bad Boy is a blue and gray repaint of Powerglide. I'll be very interested to see if this guy gets the deluxe class treatment, if for no other reason than to give us a version of Bad Boy, since we already have the 3-pack of GotBots, plus we had a Road Ranger, plus we had a Bug Bite. Seems weird to not do Bad Boy, right? I love this version of the mold. I had fun with the G1. I didn't own it, but I had friends who had it. There are bigger iterations, like there was a Voyager years ago that was obviously way too big, but man, that thing was a blast and a half, and it looked really cool. Yeah, Powerglide. Then we had Braun, and some people said that the reason they voted for him was because of his character, because he's a tough guy, right? Who always had tough talk. And some said that they were voting for him because of his G1 toy, which was such a gangly, weird, hook-armed mess that it was just laughably fun. And then some said, look, the Titans Return really nailed this guy well, and the Deluxe 86 really nailed this guy well. You know what? I can't argue with you. Both of these, great mini-bots. They both deserve to be on the list, and they both take the number 3 slot. Coming in at number 2, we have Cliffjumper. And you know what? Cliff had to be on this list. And a lot of people said, look, I love his character in the comics. I love his character in G1. In fact, a lot of people said, I even love his full-size characterizations, like in Transformers Prime, where he's not a mini-bot. But a lot of people kind of cited the same thing. They said he's always a tough guy. He's always all about vehemently the Autobot cause. And he's always cool with going in with blasters blazing. So much so that he'll use this gigantic cannon, as well as even Megatron's cannon. What's not to love about Cliffjumper? He takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy-top number 1. And Raziel Kane is going to be real happy, I think, with number 1. He kind of guessed at least half of number 1. And at the time that he guessed it, I actually replied to him and said, that guy's not winning right now. But in the end, he tied with another guy. And I think the dichotomy between these two characters is really interesting, because number 1 is tied with Warpath and Beachcomr. We have like the ultimate in Autobot opposites here. When we talk Beachcomr, we have Blam, Kazowie, Pow! And he even has a huge blaster on his chest. The cool tank mode. The loyalty to the Autobots. The fact that he was fun-loving, even if boisterously violent. But, like, it's a enjoyable type of violence. It's really strange because he's almost, I mean, with the tank body, with the gun chest, like it's like he's the epitome of a wartime Autobot. I've often wondered how Warpath would acclimate himself to like a post-war time. Would he find something to do, or would he kind of be lost in the sauce, so to speak, like Roadbuster, who really doesn't know what to do with himself in peacetime? But then the dichotomy to that is this guy, Beachcomr, a geologist, peace-loving, loves animals, loves nature. I often, when I talk about this guy, will go right back to the Golden Lagoon, which is a story that really speaks volumes to what war and to what mankind, as depicted by Transformers, can do when they go in and really get greedy for resources and destroy the environment. It's an elegant and tragic story all at the same time. The peace-loving, fun-loving Dune Buggy and the war-loving, but still fun-loving Warpath. Yeah, Beachcomr and Warpath, both are excellent. Fun fact, Beachcomr, if I voted, would have been my personal vote. Love this guy. They take, combined, the #1 slot. And that, my friends, is 10 down to 1 once again. A few others did get votes, not many, but I will point them out. Wheelie also had some votes. Hubcap, I was glad that Hubcap had some votes. Swerve had some votes. I really thought that because of the popularity of him with his bar and the Lost Light and the IDW stuff, I thought he was really going to rank. And I like this. Rather than voting for Bumblebee, somebody, just one person, voted for Goldbug. Oh, Goldbug. Yes, yes, yes. And that's it. We've done it once again. Thank you for coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. And not for a moment, not for a second, please don't forget that you right there, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.